about being a woman. There's just so much, right? There is so much. And I want to hear from you what you absolutely love about being a woman. Only one thing, you can list them all. We're women. We don't need limits, right? We don't do limits. Everything, dancing. I've got another dress up girl out there, Emma. I hear you. I love that. Being a mother, being girly girl, being resilient, aren't we just? Birthing the world, everything comes through us, of us. Is that just the most spectacular realization to remember on a day like today? Absolutely. Multitasking, we definitely have amazing brains, diffuse brains that have 20 tabs open at all times. Nails, hair, having kids. Crazy intuition. Yes, we do. Yeah, I love this. So what a beautiful way to start off. I'm your host for the evening. My name is Linda Evenden, and I just feel so honored because I love what I get to do every day. And I got to tell you, right back into my story, there was lots of dark times where I did not love what I was doing. I was not lit up. I wasn't fulfilled. I was watching the clock, wishing a day, my hours, my weeks, my months. I remember probably one of the worst times of our life. We had 3 kids under 3. And my husband was working let's just call it every other week. He was away for a week. And I just wished that entire week away. I acted like a teenager. The house would become a mess. The kids were a mess. And I was this smart, resourceful woman, but I just lost it. I lost my mojo. I lost my confidence. I remember so many times getting ready to pack up all the kids. Are there any mothers out there? If you're not yet a mother, this is what you have to look forward to. Aren't you happy that you came to this positive seminar? No. I remember not even being able to get those kids in the car to go off to a play center to just have like 2 hours peace. And I thought, what's happened? I was smart and resourceful. I had this high-flying corporate career, highly paid, deeply unfulfilled, mega stressed, and it actually gave me anxiety. I actually went out after 9 years at a major corporate on mental health leave. And then I went, okay, so corporate doesn't work for me. And what happened for me there, ladies, and maybe you can relate to this, right above me was 3 women in positions above me. This was a company with 8,000 employees. There were 3 women in higher positions. And I looked at them. I didn't want to be them. I didn't particularly like them. And I wasn't inspired by them. And yet I had put all of my eggs in this basket of the corporate career and had committed to climbing this ladder. And have any of you ever had a time where you looked around and you kind of got the dream and you looked around and you said, is this it? Oh, no. Well, that was me. So then I decided, okay, I'm going to be a hippie and live in San Francisco and work in a coffee shop. That's going to be the dream. And it absolutely was for a while. But like many friends predicted, you'll get very bored. And so I did. So then we started our own business. That was going to be the new dream. There was going to be time freedom, flexibility, unlimited income. How do you think that worked out with all the risk and importing, exporting? And then there was this curveball called the global financial crisis. Does anyone remember that, or is anyone old enough to? Okay, so that was wipeout number 3. So life felt like snakes and ladders. I would get almost to the top, feel like I'm winning, and then I would get that great big dirty snake down again. So here is me in despair. I was literally in a state of despair. We were financially completely and utterly fearful and just over broke. And I remember so many moments at the checkout just going, what happened? I'm sitting here deleting in case I've gone over what I have to put back, and already predicting that shame and embarrassment that happens. Maybe you can relate. Have you ever had a time where you get the decline or you're transferring $15 right? There's $15 in your account and you can only get out 20. So at this moment, one of my beautiful friends, Lauren, who I'd been watching from afar, and you know what I was watching her do? Be around empowering women. I told myself the story, I'm not one of those. I can't do what she does, but I couldn't deny I loved what I was seeing. Facebook was brand new way back then. Can you imagine? So this is 13 years ago, ladies. And I remember she was coming out on a trip to Australia and she was doing this business. And I knew that she was going to ask me about it because I knew she would see where we were living, how we were living, and I couldn't hide how I felt from her. She's like my mum. There's just no hiding, no BS. I'm sure you've got someone like that in your life. And she listened to all the reasons why I didn't think that I could do a home-based business like this. And I said, well, the kid, you know, I've got 3 kids under 3. James is traveling. I had all these excuses and they were legit, like totally justified. And then she looked at me, she listened. And I love how women, when we hold space for each other, that we listen. It's some of the most healing times in my life is when another woman has just sat across me and listened. And she listened. She didn't argue. She didn't try and convince me. She just asked me a really beautiful, powerful question. And this is my God honest truth. She said, Linda, I get it. I hear you. I've been there. She said, let me ask you a question. What if you could do this business? And oh my goodness, like I love coaching. I'm a coach now. I wanted to learn that voodoo magic of the right question at the right time, right? Because it just exploded part of my brain with all these possibilities that I just wasn't ready for. And all these answers flooded in of, oh, I could travel again. I could dress up and go to conferences like you. And maybe I'd get on a plane and come to America and party in Vegas with you. And maybe I'd even make a bit of money. Imagine that. And you know what? She said, I know that you don't believe it, but right now I know it to be true and I believe in you. And I'm going to believe in you every single step of the way until you have the same belief. And then you're going to do that for other women. Wait and see. And so 13 years later, I get to share the magnificent part of my story, which is all of the things that I was searching for, my confidence, my mojo. They were honestly, ladies, the biggest gift that I got back, because maybe you're like me, there's a lot of ways to make money. There's a lot of ways to achieve. I was really good at achieving, but fulfillment was missing for me. And that's the number one thing that just blew me away as soon as I arrived in this business was the empowered women, the mentoring. There wasn't just Lauren who believed in me. Then there was another woman right behind her with 35 years experience, giving me the most amazing wisdom of her life. And then there was another, and then there was another. And what blew me away was what I love to call the emotional revenue. The emotional revenue is still, now that our finances were handled, now that we began to dream again and really create what I love to call the masterpiece life, to me, that is the time flexibility. That's my husband being able to retire from his working away job and retiring into our business, where we now enjoy another 45 hours every week with our kids. It's pretty amazing. There's no price on. My favorite things about what we get to do is really, I love that I'm now a dream keeper, just like Lauren was for me. I now get to say to women, I believe in you, I got you, and we're going to do this together. That is absolutely my most favorite part of this. So that's a bit about my story. And the thing I love about this business the most is who we get to invest our time with. Who we hang out with, it determines everything. Your closet, your bank account, your vocabulary, like you got to choose wisely, my friends. And so some of my favorite people on the planet, I've had the honor to meet through this business, including Miss Kimberly Wellman, who I'm going to hand over to. Kimberly is just such a beauty. She has a very similar story to me in the background. Share with us a bit about your story and what you love about
I,
your business.
I would love to. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yay, awesome. And I'm also putting you guys on gallery view here. I can see there's tears already in the chat and online there right now. So I'm keeping my calm right now because it has been a big day, and just I feel so honored to share in this space with you tonight. It really is such a special day, International Women's Day. And I'm excited to share a little bit of my story because I was a woman that not that long ago had really lost my self-belief and my self-worth. And you know what? It feels so beautiful to be able to share here in front of you tonight and say that I truly know who I am and that I have found myself again. And I'm feeling all the feels right now just saying that to you. But before joining this community, you know what? I was living in a lot of fear, and I felt like that hamster on a wheel, just going round and round and round in life. You know, same week, same wage, same rush, same stress, same busyness. And even though that there was lots going on the outside and externally, on the inside, I just felt so stagnant. And growth is actually one of my top human needs. If I'm not growing, if I'm not feeling eager, if I'm not feeling excited and just casting that higher vision for myself, I feel really stuck, and I don't like that feeling. But I didn't always understand that. I actually spent decades, I would say, pushing down those niggling flames of wanting more because I actually felt guilty for it. And when I reflect back now, like I really found my power in life through my pain. And this community of women have helped me do that. So let me backpedal very quickly. As Linda said, my story is a little bit similar, but I had actually spent 19 years in senior corporate communications. And while I was good at my job, I was starting to feel very unfulfilled and also very trapped in that 9 to 5 daily grind. And then my husband had started a traditional business to help us create that time freedom and that flexibility and that next level of abundance, which we were hoping might be my exit strategy from like the chains of traditional work. But 9 years into that traditional business and us competing with the online world, not only did the business become stagnant, but it started going backwards, and it started going backwards very quickly. And that left us too in a very financial, fearful time in our life with 3 children within 19 months of age. And as young parents with 3 kids, guys, we hit a point where we felt like failures, to be honest. And when you integrate long work hours, stress, feeling trapped and capped each week with not much left in the bank or the tank to show for it, it was affecting us not only economically, but personally as well. So that pain, though, now that allowed us to have that is our enough is enough moment. Yeah, there's got to be a better way. And we wanted to work smarter because we were, at a point where we were trying to get ahead again in life. And we were sick of just exchanging time for dollars, because no matter how hard we worked in traditional work, in traditional business, it just never seemed to bring that next level limitless income that we were really looking for. So similar to Linda, we craved freedom, we craved time flexibility, we craved doing life on our terms and in accordance to our values. And you know what, for me as a woman, I wanted more. And I just felt like I was suffocating standing still. So when I looked into this community and this beautiful business vehicle, I saw community, I saw connection, I saw purpose, I saw passion, I saw impact, I saw growth, and I also saw a really smart business vehicle. So I had to take a closer look. And you know what? Fast forward 3 years, saying yes to this business has not only I guess, transformed our lives through financial empowerment, and allowed us to create that global mission and impact through family health and wellness, it's allowed me to become the woman and the mum and the wife that I knew that I wanted to be, and I wasn't showing up as her. And now I get to live this life with complete time freedom and flexibility, and I really am pinching myself. And the more I go to work on this business, just the more lit up and energetic that I feel. And I remember not so long ago, spending almost 20 years working. The more I worked, the more tired I was, the more cranky I was, the more unfulfilled I was. So I love that I get to work and it lights me up in this space. But the last thing I wanted to share quickly, one lesson that I've learned in finding myself again was that action amplifies your self-belief. If you want to create more self-belief in any area of your life, you've got to start taking the action, yeah? And you're the only one that can take that action. So when you start honoring yourself and stop waiting for the belief, stop waiting for the perfect controlled outcome, stop waiting to be able to predict the outcome before you're actually going to take a step, that action helps you create a step towards change. And that has been one of my biggest lessons. It's that action ignites that belief. And every time I've done that, I've just grown my confidence that little bit more. And now I just love doing everything that is outside of my comfort zone because I know there's some serious growth and magic on the other side of it. And I thought I had a comfort zone, being all things to all people, pleasing all people. My comfort zone was freaking uncomfortable. So you know what? Action creates that belief. And I just truly believe that every woman out there deserves to play full out and be unapologetic about your desires. And just, as a generation and a cohort, just stop dimming to fit in. The world needs us all to shine our light more than ever before. Thank you, Linda.
Oh, that's beautiful. There were so many points in there, but there's something that I love is just about doing business in alignment, really going for what flows and not settling, going after what we truly, truly want and believe in. And when you get to do that together in a community, culture trumps everything. That I know to be true. And I'm going to pass to another gorgeous woman who is so much about culture. She has just created a beautiful tribe around gratitude. And Simpson, I'm going to pass to you, honey. Can you share what you love the most about this business?
Thanks, Linda. It's so beautiful just to listen to both of your stories, and I'm so honored to be here and sharing to 130 people. It's kind of mind-blowing, especially today. So 4 years ago, I am coming up to 4 years in this business, and 4 years ago I was juggling a lot. I had a newborn, a little 6-week-old baby girl, Harper. I had a toddler. I had a soon-to-be ex-husband who was not able to work, and I was the sole financial provider for our family. And I don't know if anyone else resonates with this, but I would wake up in the morning, and while I was feeding Harper, I would be checking my phone, and then I would get up and I'd be making lunches and I'd be getting my toddler ready to go to kindy, and I'd lose my keys every single day, and I would always forget something, whether it was an appointment or to get back to an email or to do something. I felt like every single moment of my life I was rushing and just trying to keep up. I felt like I was never good enough. I felt like I was failing as a mum because I wasn't there enough for my kids. I felt like I was failing as a woman who was trying to work and get things done. I was unreliable. I was always full of excuses. And I seriously felt like even though things looked really good on the outside, I felt every single day like I was just drowning and failing. And all I wanted was to be a good mum and a good wife and do good things in the world. And I was the definition of life looked really good on the outside, but it was a big fat mess inside, like another level. And I was sick of it. I felt like, if this is life, I had one particular day when I felt like I was totally on the edge when I was driving, and I went, if this is life, I don't really want to do it anymore. And then I found this business. And one thing that really stood out to me that was the biggest blessing for me is I had all of these women and all of this training and all of this mentorship on how to not only do it all, but do it all properly. I was sick of getting home to my kids, and instead of them having the best of me, and instead of them having this fun mum that I knew I could be, they were always getting what was left of me. And coming into this space, I found, and I learned, and I was taught, and people held my hand and showed me how to wear hats and set boundaries. So instead of trying to be a mum who was on her phone working, or instead of trying to drive and listen to webinars while I was studying, or instead of trying to cook while, catching up with my husband on what he had done for the day, instead of trying to always be doing two things at once and wearing too many hats at once, as Linda so beautifully has taught me, I learned how to put on one hat at a time. And I learned how to set boundaries and to say no to others more often and then say yes to myself. And every single part of what I hated about life just started to disappear. And like I said, it all looked so good. I was a social media influencer and I was getting sent free stuff every day, but free stuff never paid my bills. Like, getting sent tea and free swimsuits never paid my bills. I did not want that. I did not want free stuff. I wanted to have money, and I wanted to have the tools and resources so that I could be a boss babe, and then I could be an epic mama, so that I could have a happy, healthy home environment, but I could also take care of me. And everything I've learned in this business has helped me to work smarter instead of harder. And now, instead of my kids getting what was left of me, they get all of me when I'm with them. And as much as the income and the freedom and the personal development, everything that has been so beautiful here has been, there has been no better gift than just simply being able to take off the hat and the pressure of feeling like I have to be absolutely everything, and being able to wear the hat of mum, or the hat of mama needing self-care, or the hat of, total boss babe, whatever it may be. And exactly, Kimberly, the coaching, the mentoring, and the support that I've received through this has not only helped me to build a business where I no longer have to sprout free stuff on Instagram in order to make some money, but so that I can be genuinely happy in what I do, and I can show up to my kids after school every day and give them every single part of me, not just what's left over from the work and everything else that I had to do. So I absolutely love everything about this business. It has been the best 4 years of my life and the most challenging at once. But thank you, Linda, not only for tonight, but just for all the lessons you've ever taught me and all of the goodness that you've added to my life, whether you know it or not.
Oh, thank you. This business is rich in tears all the time. I had to get used to a lot of crying, which honestly, I was just thinking about the magic of, yes, I say emotional revenue, but really what is so precious is vulnerability, right? Ladies, we know this. Brené Brown is making this so cool to be vulnerable, right? And on the other side of vulnerability is your courage. And it's the thing that links all of us to know that we're real, that we're human, and that you do get to have a sisterhood, that you do get a safe place to grow. You are understood here. We have 3 team mantras around this. The first is you're a blessing in the team, whether you do a little or a lot. It's like, come on along, hang out, dress up. Let's see what happens. Come play, right? And it's always at your own pace. We have some, like when I started, I was a hot mess. I told you I couldn't even brush my hair, let alone the kids, and get them off to Smiley's, godforsaken playhouse. But this business was like my relief away from the wiggles. There was proper women who were ready to help me without expectations. Like, they weren't stressing me out. They're just like nurturing me, guiding me step by step. And the vulnerability that we are given as grace in this business allows you to grow so beautifully, where maybe you've never been able to bloom before. It's pretty magical here. So we are going to bring it home here with our final speaker tonight, gorgeous Lauren. I'm going to hand over to you, honey. And yeah, please share with us what your experience has been so far, what you love about this business.
Sure. Ooh. My heart is already so full. I was like, my heart is racing, but I think it's because of just these really deep conversations. And I think that's what I really appreciate tonight is women, we talk a lot, but very rarely do talk about the stuff that actually matters. So I love that we're coming together tonight to actually get real and raw. So a little bit about my story. I guess it's interesting because I'm kind of at the other end of the spectrum. I was lucky to come across this business opportunity, this community, these beautiful women at 21. So I had studied psychology. I had seen sacrifices that I saw my mum make, my grandma make, my aunties make growing up. I saw them not pursue careers that they wanted, rather pursuing careers that would fit around kids, going in and out of the workforce, cleaning offices, taking part-time jobs, not going to university because that just wasn't an option for a lot of people in the generation before us. So I felt this, I guess, duty to take advantage of the opportunity my generation have to go to uni. So I busted my butt. I got a scholarship. I studied psychology. I got a graduate position working in child protection. And for me, I really wanted a career that was emotionally rewarding. And I think like most women, I just want to make a difference. Us women, we love the emotions, we love the tears, but I wanted to make sure I had a job that paid me well. I worked hard, but I also wanted a job that would allow me to feel like I was lit up and I was passionate about what I did. So I thought I found that. I think 2 years into child protection, I started just kind of really having a look around. I think I was very lucky I had time on my side. I started thinking about, well, what did I really want from life? And was this going to get me where I wanted to go? And I started to burn out. It was emotionally draining work. At only 23 at that point, I was like, can I really do this for the next 50 years of my life? And I started to look around being like, okay, well, I can't wait to be a mum. What happens when I'm a mum? I'm going to get so much time maternity leave, then I'm going to have to go back to work. And I saw the other mums working in the career that I had chosen, and they're working really long days, dropping their kids off at daycare, the first to drop them off, the last to pick them up. You don't just finish at 5 in child protection, you finish when you can. I wanted to travel. My partner's from the UK, and I remember working my 52 weeks to get my annual leave, and then going and visiting family overseas and coming back being like, I've got to work another 52 weeks just to earn that time back. And so I started doing some real research, thinking out what did I want from life? What's important to me? And I really want to share with you some statistics, because the stories that I was exposed to growing up, they're not my stories to share. But I'm sure these statistics, you're probably going to see your mum in these stories, your auntie in these stories, your grandma in these stories, your sister in these stories. So 1 in 2 marriages end in divorce. And more often than not, it's the women that's left as a primary caregiver and financially having to look after her kids. 80% of women who are under the poverty line weren't when they were married. Why is that? Women's retirement income is less than of a man because we are away from the workforce on average 14.7 years, opposed to a man's 1.6. Traditionally, women are primary caregivers, obviously. So along with our lower salaries, we are left with the average payout in Australia when we retire is $37,000, opposed to a man who's $110,000 for retirement. With the elderly living in poverty, 3 out of 4 are women, and 80% of these women weren't in poverty when their husband was alive. So I share these with you because you probably see yourself in these stories, your mum in these stories, your grandma in these stories, your auntie in these stories. I personally did. And that's why I started thinking about, was what I was doing going to make me in a different position when I was their age? And it wasn't. I was going to have to take extended leave when I had kids. I was not going to have the same wage as a man. I wasn't going to have the flexibility. And I really started to think, like, obviously you don't go into a marriage or a relationship expecting it to end, or into a business thinking it's going to fail, or into a job expecting to get laid off. But as a lot of us have witnessed over the last 12 months, it happens. So I started really thinking about, well, if I'm working to make money, what happens when I stop working? How do I survive? How do I get ahead? And I really want a career that I'm passionate about. I really want a career where I don't have to choose a career that's convenient. I want to be great at my career. I want to make amazing money, not less. Like, I want to make lots of money. And I think women, we don't talk about that, and we should own that. And I want to be in a relationship and a marriage because I love my partner, not because I need to stay in it. And I saw that a lot in child protection, a lot of women staying in domestic violent relationships because they had to. So for a lot of us, yeah, money's nice, but money's safety, money's freedom, money's choices, money's flexibility. So like I said, I was lucky I had time on my side. I was like, where do I want to go? Am I going to get doing what I'm doing? Am I going to be in a different position to my mom and the generations have gone before me? Like, there's so much education, and we live in such a beautiful era right now where there's so much opportunity, and like the world is changing, business is changing. Like, look around, most businesses are online these days. Most companies don't have the same loyalty they did 50 years ago. So I was so lucky when I came across this. I was surrounded by women who were showing up in the world the way I wanted to show up. They were leaving the lifestyles I wanted to lead. They were being able to be present with their kids. They're being able to travel. They didn't have to sacrifice their career. They were, not that you're just a mum, but they could be a mum and an amazing business owner. And I was like, I want to do this. So if you've been following my journey, I've been in this business now for 5 years. I have created everything that I wanted to create. I've traveled the world with this. I've created multiple 6 figures in residual income with this. And now we're in a position where we can settle down and have kids. We've bought our first property, paid for that cash. So it's so exciting to know that we have women who've gone before us. We've got a blueprint system. We've got a company that's been around for 50 years that you get to lean into, because it's not all sunshine and rainbows. It's scary. There's been times I've doubted myself. There's been times that I'm not sure, but I love that these women light the way and they're always there for each other, and we get to do business alongside each other. So if you've seen yourself in one of the women who shared their stories tonight, the reason that you resonate with them is because what you see in them is in you. And I honestly believe as women, like, you need to shine bright. Like, you need to get the most out of life. You need to go first, because that's how your friends, like, lighting yourself up is giving other women permission to shine too. And so you leading the way teaches other women it's okay to want more, whether it's setting an example for your friends, your sisters, your mum, your daughters. So it's such an honor to spend tonight with you ladies and having these deep conversations. And if you're my age too and you're a millennial, and maybe you're not starting to think about retirement or divorce or sickness because it just isn't we're not in that chapter of life. I always love to think, dig your well before you're thirsty. Like, set yourself up so you can have freedom, you can have flexibility, you can have passion, and you don't have to burn yourself out in the corporate ladder, or at least you have a second income. Because I feel like a lot of us have learned over the last 12 months, the second income isn't just fun, it's a necessity. So thanks again for coming tonight. If any of our stories have resonated with you, please reach out to the person who invited you along. We're all here tonight to celebrate women. We love each and every one of you. So here's to amazing women. Here's to strong women. May we know them, may we be them, and may we raise them. Sending you guys lots of love. Thanks for spending your night with us, and we'll chat to you all soon.